Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So dear devotees, thank you so much for joining in the regular Bhagavatam class. This shows the eagerness of every devotee over here, that how much eager are we to hear the message of God from the Shrimad Bhagavatam. And they say that a speaker gets his enthusiasm from the hearers itself. So how much eager are the hearers to hear the Shrimad Bhagavatam? The speaker also gets that energy from the hearers itself. So thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining in. So we have the 33rd chapter where the title of the chapter is Activities of Lord Kapila. And Srila Vishwanath Chakri Thakur has translated this as Departure of Kapila. So after he instructs his mother Devahuti on Sankhya philosophy and devotional service and many other topics. Primarily, he's speaking about Sankhya philosophy, and then he comes to Bhakti Yoga. And post that, now Devahuti is going to give her praise to Lord Kapila. Of course, if somebody is giving us some knowledge, we're going to thank him by, glorifying him or praying to him. But here, Mother Devahuti is the mother of the Supreme Lord himself. So she does not need to say thank you to, her son. But still, out of gratitude, she wants to thank him. And how does she thank him? By praying to him, she's thanking him. So let's dive into the first shloka. Maitra uvacha evam nimishyam kapilasya vacho janitri sakardamasya daita kilam devahuti visrashta moha patalatam abhipranasya tutavat tattva vishayankita siddhi bhunim. Somebody can read the translation and purport.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Maitreya said, thus Devahuti, the mother of Lord Kapila and wife of Kardam Muni, became freed from all ignorance concerning devotional service and transcendental knowledge. She offered her obeisances unto the Lord, the author of the basic principles of Sankhya system of philosophy, which is the background of liberation, and she satisfied him with the following verses of prayer. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And Sriya Mataji, you can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The system of philosophy enunciated by Lord Kapila before his mother is the background for situation on the spiritual platform. The specific significance of this system of philosophy is stated herein as Siddhi Bhumi. It is the background of salvation. People who are suffering in this material world because they are conditioned by the material nature can easily get freedom from the clutches of matter by understanding the Sankhya philosophy enunciated by Lord Kapila. By this system of philosophy, one can immediately become free. Even though one is situated in this material world, the stage is called Jivan Mukti. This means that one is liberated even though one stays with his material body. That happens for Devahuti, the mother of Lord Kapila, and she therefore satisfied the Lord by offering her prayers. Anyone who understands the basic principle of Sankhya philosophy is elevated in devotional service and becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated even within this material world. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So over here, Devahuti, who's the mother of Lord Kapil Dev, after hearing the Sankhya philosophy from Kapil Dev, she immediately, as soon as she got this knowledge, she immediately came out from all the ignorance. Now, somebody might wonder that how can the mother of the Lord be in ignorance? But over here, she is being put into ignorance by the arrangement of the Lord, by the will of the Lord, so that this Sankhya philosophy can be propagated. So momentarily, how Arjun was put into ignorance, though of course Arjun is Gudakesha, right? He has conquered his sleep also and ignorance also. So temporarily, when the Supreme Lord wants to give this message to the world, is into ignorance so that the transcendental message can be propagated via that particular pure devotee. So yes, she's offering obeisances also to the Lord. And the Sankhya philosophy is actually more about the connection between the spirit and matter, or the body and soul, and how the Sankhya philosophy is, systematically, analytically, the study actually drills down to that. If you understand the Sankhya philosophy, you'll get liberation, because you know that I am not this body, I am the soul. And that's how she understood it. And if you see the Sankhya philosophy that Lord Kapil has, given us, and the Sankhya philosophy which Krishna has given us in the Bhagavad Gita, both are the same. That's what Prabhupada actually mentions in many of his purports over here in the third canto. And now Mother Devahuti is going to actually give some prayers by thanking him. So let's go to the second shloka. So Devahuti starts speaking from here. देवहूतिरुवाच अथाप्योजन्त सलीलेश्यान् भूतेन्द्रियार्थम् आत्मयं मयं वपुस्ते गृहन् प्रवाह सद एते सदशेष बीजं दधय स्वयं यज्जर यज्जठरात् बजातः.
Hare Krishna. Param Prabha Devi Dasi Mataji, you can read the translation. Sudha Mataji, the first stanza of purport, and Kripa Mai Sita Devi Dasi, the second stanza. Hare Krishna.
Param Prabha Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. Translation by Prabhat Ki Jai. Devahuti said, Brahma is said to be unborn because he takes birth from the lotus flower which grows from your abdomen while you lie in the ocean at the bottom of the universe. But even Brahma simply meditated upon you, whose body is the source of unlimited universes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam.
So Paramprabha Mataji, now you don't touch your system. Maybe you're not too aware of this. All these lines are
Yes,
coming.
Mataji, that I couldn't understand and I was unable to unmute Mataji. Yes,
Yeah, I could
sorry.
understand that you're not too computer savvy, so fine.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Who is the next person?
Sudha Mataji, you have to read the first para, and Kripa Mai Devi.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma is also named Aja, he who is unborn. Whenever we think of someone's birth, there must be a material father and mother, for thus one is born. But Brahma, being the first living creature within this universe, was born directly from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the Vishnu form lying down in the ocean at the bottom of the universe. Devahuti wanted to impress upon the Lord that when Brahma wants to see him, he has to meditate upon him. You are the seed of all creation, she said. Although Brahma was directly born from you, he still has to perform many years of meditation, and even then he cannot see you directly face to face. Your body is lying within the vast water at the bottom of the universe, and thus you are known as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Kripa Mai Sita Devi Dasi. The second paragraph.
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. The nature of the Lord's gigantic body is also explained in this verse. That is, that body is transcendental, untouched by matter. Since the material manifestation has come from his body therefore existed before the material creation. The conclusion is that the transcendental body of Vishnu is not made of material elements. The body of Vishnu is the source of all other living entities, as well as the material nature, which is also supposed to be the energy of that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devahuti said, you are the background of all material manifestations and all created energy. Therefore, you are delivering me from the clutches of Maya by explaining the system of Sankhya philosophy is not so astonishing. But your being born from my abdomen is certainly wonderful, because although you are the source of all creation, you have so kindly taken birth as my child. That is most wonderful. Your body is the source of all the universe, and still you put your body within the abdomen of the common women like me. To me, it is most astonishing. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you so much. So over here, if you see, Brahma is the first unborn a person who is actually given birth by Lord Krishna. So we can see that, there are many various types of living entities which have been created. And in the very beginning, that is the dawn of creation, at that point of time, Brahma is the first person to be created. And then, Brahma created all the other sages like Marichi, Bhrigu, Atriya, Vashishtha. So, and they in turn also, they created different types of body according to the karmas. So, in this Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila is telling his mother that the living entities, they're getting some particular type of body in accordance to whatever work they have done. And who is deciding these bodies? These bodies is actually being decided by the higher authorities. So, and who are these higher authorities? These higher authorities are Lord Brahma himself, appointed by the Supreme Lord or the other Prajapatis and Manu as such. So, from the beginning of the creation, we can see that the first creature, Lord Brahma, is most intelligent, because of course it is not that the so-called this modern intelligence has developed just gradually, or it is evolved as such. And there is a gradual evolutionary process as such, but it is not that the body is evolving. So all the bodily forms that are already there, and they are spiritual entities, or you can say spiritual sparks within the body, and that is being promoted by the laws of nature under the supervision of Lord Brahma, or who is the superior authority. So we can understand that how from the very beginning of these creations, so many different living entities are existing, and there are so many extinct entities also. So everything is there, but because of our lack of knowledge, we cannot see those things in proper perspective. So we say that the Supreme Lord is Suridam Sarvabhutana. He's a friend of everyone, but uh, no one can take the advantage of the Supreme Friend's instructions while making his own plans to become, happy. And he's entangling himself into the modes of material nature. So there is creation. The living entities take on different forms according to the past desires. So if you see that Brahma could take charge of creating a variety of people found or creatures found in this material world. And to the limited knowledge of these scientists, they are still bewildered that how is it possible that there are 84 lakhs of species in this cosmic manifestation. So Brahma is the first unborn creature who is born from the navel. When, of course, we know that story that how Lord Brahma, he came from the navel and he was pretty confused and he was moving up and down and he did not know, and he heard three words called tapa, tapa, tapa. And that's how he got that knowledge just by hearing the first so first syllable that he heard was tapa, means tapasya. And of course, if I'm just born and I hear some three words called tapa tapa, I wouldn't really understand. But because Brahma is very intelligent, he understood that I have to, perform some austerities. So Brahma, is the cosmic. After he, meditated for 1,000 years, the Supreme Lord was pleased with him, and that's how Brahma became the first cosmic engineer, and he actually created. And even after creating the cosmic manifestation, he was very humble, because if you see in the second shloka, the Chatushloki Shloka, how he was that he was praying to the Supreme Lord that you please give me humility and tolerance, so that I don't become proud of whatever I'm creating. And the Supreme Lord says that if you keep on hearing again and again, about me, you will not be, influenced by pride. And that is why uh, Brahma is the most intelligent human being, the first created jiva, and uh, and the first creation is the most perfect, intelligent person is there. So this is not actually theory. So it has full knowledge of the Supreme Lord, that how did the Supreme Lord from the navel create a person who is going to actually now create the cosmic manifestation. And the first information, or the first knowledge that Brahma got was from the Supreme Lord himself, where if you see the first shloka of the Shrimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahmarada Adi Kavaye, he learnt it from the Supreme Lord himself, and then he's compiling the Vedas, giving the full knowledge, whatever he has experienced. And then you have the Brahma Samhita also, it's written by Brahma himself, So you have Karnodakshaya Vishnu, and then is mentioned. Then he says that in the Brahma Samhita, he's saying that it is not that we are accepting, the shloka is there that Yasyaika Nivashita Kalam Athava Avalambyam Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanatham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So the Brahma Samhita was written in that manner. And he's creating and he's creating this whole creation. So as you know, Darwin's theory says that the Big Bang came up, and the world was made with this Big Bang, this cosmic manifestation came into existence with a Big Bang. That no, it's nothing like an explosion, like some chemicals were mixed or acids were mixed and then there is an explosion. No, actually, the process of creation that was there, that Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Karnodakshay Vishnu is there, then Shirodakshay Vishnu is there, and Garbhodakshay Vishnu is there, of course, but Karnodakshay Vishnu, from his breathing, he is creating millions and millions of universes, innumerable universes. And then the Garbhodakshay Vishnu is entering those universes, and he produced a flower. Within the stem of that particular flower, there are so many planets, and just see that there is this lotus stem is a gigantic lotus stem. So all this we know from the Shastras. See, we cannot imagine how this creation takes place. This huge creation that is there, which is taking place. So, we have to see through the Shastra Chakshus. We have to see through the Shastras, and when we see through the eyes of the Shastras, then we will not speculate. We will actually, because of course, as we know that we have our limitations, we have our imperfections, we are illusioned, and we can be cheated, and we can be cheated also. So these four imperfections we will have. So when we see through the eyes of the Shastras, then it will not be speculative eyes. These eyes will be ointed with the love of God when we see through the Shastras. So, such a big, gigantic business, and I am a tiny soul over here. I have a tiny brain over here. I just cannot imagine what is this process of creation, with my sporadic thoughts. So, the creation means that all the universes were created through the breathing of Karnodaksha Vishnu, and then in each and every universe, the Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters and he creates, and then half of the universe is filled up with water, and this water, it has come from the perspiration, and then the Supreme Lord lies down, then he creates the lotus flower, and then upon the lotus flower, Brahma is first born, he's the first creation, and that Brahma is like the first human being, he's not an uncivilized person, of course he's an intelligent person, and that is why we should not accept that rubbish theory of Darwin. So that there was no human being in the creation before, and all that, so that theory, Prabhupada, many times has ruled out the Darwin's theory. So here we have Brahma, we have the first creature of the cosmic manifestation, and then let's see. So Mother Devahuti is continuously glorifying as such. स एव विषया भवान् विधते गुणप्रभावेन विभक्तवीर्यः सर्गाध्यनिहो वितथाभिसन्धिर् आत्मेश्वरो अतर्काय सहस्रशक्ति. Somebody read the translation.
Vrishabhanu Mataji, you can read the translation. Sharmila Mataji, the first paragraph. Divya Gopu Mataji, the second paragraph. And we'll see if somebody raises hand. Otherwise, I'll read. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji Pranam. My dear Lord, translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, although personally you have nothing to do, you have distributed your energies in the interactions of material modes of nature, and for that reason the creation, maintenance and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation take place. My dear Lord, you are self-determined and are the Supreme Personality of Godhead for all living entities. For them, you created this material manifestation, and although you are one, your diverse energies can act multifariously, and this is the inconceivable to us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The statement made in this verse by Devahuti that the absolute truth has many diverse energies, although he personally has nothing to do, is confirmed in the Upanishads. There is no one greater than him or on an equal level with him, and everything is completely done by his energy, as if by nature. It is understood herein, therefore, that although the modes of material nature are entrusted to different manifestations like Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, each of whom is particularly invested with different kinds of power, the Supreme Lord is completely aloof from such activities. Devahuti is saying, although you personally are not doing anything, your determination is absolute. There is no question of your fulfilling your will with the help of anyone else besides yourself. You are, in the end, the Supreme Soul and the Supreme Controller. Your will, therefore, cannot be checked by anyone else. The Supreme Lord can check others' plans. As it is said, man proposes and God disposes. But when the Supreme Personality of Godhead proposes, that desire is under no one else's control. He is absolute. We are ultimately dependent on Him to fulfill our desires. But we cannot say that God's desires are also dependent. That is His inconceivable power. That which may be inconceivable for the ordinary living entities is easily done by him. And in spite of his being unlimited, he has subjected himself to being known from the authoritative scriptures like the Vedic literatures. As it is said, Shabda Moolatvad. He can be known through the Shabda Brahma or Vedic literature. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Why is the creation made? Since the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead for all living entities, He created this material manifestation for those living entities who want to enjoy or lord it over material nature. As the Supreme Godhead, He arranges to fulfill their various desires. It is confirmed also in the Vedas, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. The Supreme One supplies the necessities of many living entities. There is no limit to the demands of the different kinds of living entities, and the Supreme One, the Supreme Personality of Godhead alone maintains them and supplies them by His inconceivable energy. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So over here, Mother Devotee is saying that you have nothing to do, with this material world. You have, distributed your energies, and you have, they're interacting with the modes of material nature, and you have appointed people also for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And of course, the Supreme Lord is self determined, right? That yes, self determined means that he is determined to bring back the fallen souls back to him. And if you see that even in the Bhagavatam at many places, that somewhere, there are some silent thinking about the Supreme Lord, because when we read about the Supreme Lord and about how when Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, when he says that Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suritasa Characharam Hedu Nanena Konte Jagat Viparitatmene. He said that this whole material nature is working under my direction. When he says Devi He Yesha Gunamai Mama Maya Durateya. So that divine energy of Krishna is working under his control, and where he says Aham Sarvasva Prabhu Matta Sarva Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Ma Buddha Bhava Samanvita. So both the material and the spiritual roles, they're emanating from Krishna himself only, and they're completely under Krishna's control as such. And of all these divine energies that are emanating from him, where he says Parashashakti Divida Suyate. So all the various energies, the material and the spiritual, in all their categories, they are either directly or indirectly, they have been controlled by the Supreme Lord or by Krishna himself. So, and Prabhupada tells, like, that Krishna has a complexion of a newly formed monsoon rain cloud, and uh, his very immediate expansion, Balaram is also there, and he has a whitest, complexion as such. So Krishna is, having so many expansions. From Balram also so many expansions are coming, and then from him, and then, it goes to, the living entities as such. So Krishna knows the past, present, future, and without his sanction, not even a blade of grass can move. And sometimes, people cannot understand. So, even Lord Brahma also, he also becomes very much bewildered when, he sees this inconceivable, power of Krishna. Like when we know the Brahma Vimohan Leela, where it was, the birthday of Balram, and Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys. And when, Krishna went looking for the, boys, and like it was very eventful, mm, uh, Balramji actually did not go on that particular day for, herding the cow as such. And then Brahmaji stole the calves and cows, and then he's wondering that how come similar only cows and calves are being seen? Because when he's looking on one way, 1 second he's looking over here, and 1 second he's looking over there, he's seeing two identical cows and calves are there. So this is one of the very inconceivable pastime of Krishna. Inconceivable means that is Krishna's Achintya Leela. So Krishna has many energies, and one of the energies is called Achintya. Achintya means you cannot conceive, that particular energy. So you cannot conceive that how is it possible that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is running out of fear of Mother Yashoda's stick. Who is the fear personified also gets, fearful of Krishna, the Supreme Lord. And here is that little child, he's running out of fear from Mother Yashoda's stick. So these are many inconceivable uh, energies of Krishna. And actually, these energies, they come from Yogamaya itself. Okay. So Yogamaya is the one who actually plots or, plans all these, pastimes of Krishna. And Krishna plays that particular role. And when Krishna is playing that role of a child, he actually completely forgets that I am the Supreme Lord. There is a covering on Krishna where he completely forgets his supremacy. He forgets that I'm the Supreme Lord. He thinks that I'm a child only, and Mother Yashoda now is going to come and, she's going to catch me, like as such. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti also Thakur has actually mentioned that how is it possible that, the Supreme Lord is running? So is he doing some drama, or is he doing some, false, pastime? But the acharyas say, the Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, no, Krishna is not doing drama. He doesn't know only that, he's the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, that pastime cannot be relished by him. If he knew that he is the Supreme Lord, then that pastime wouldn't be so relishable. Now, if you hear this pastime, how much we relish that particular pastime, right? Because Krishna also does not know his supremacy. So there are so many inconceivable pastimes of Krishna Like how a small 7-year-old child can kill a big, gigantic snake like Kalia, or how a small child can, suck the life air of Putana. Just, a 6-day or a 7-day-old child can, kill a nurse as such. So these are some inconceivable pastime which actually Mother Devahuti is mentioning over here, that her energies are complete, his energies are completely, diverse, and nobody can actually understand these energies of Krishna. Not even Brahma and Shiva can also understand these activities of, the Supreme Lord. So this is what has been said in this verse. Let's go to the 4th verse. स्वतं भृतो मे जठरेण नाथ कथं नो यस्योदर एतसादित् विश्वयुगान्ते वट पत्र एकं शेते स्म माया शिशुरङ्घ्रिपानः.
Hare Krishna. Vasudha Mataji, you read the translation. Suma Mataji, the first paragraph, and Sarika Mataji, the second paragraph. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have taken birth from my abdomen. Oh, my Lord, how is that possible for the Supreme One who has in his belly all the cosmic manifestation? The answer is that it is possible, for at the end of the millennium, you lie down on a leaf of a banyan tree, and just like a small baby, you lick the toe of your lotus feet. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. At the time of dissolution, the Lord sometimes appears as a small baby lying on a leaf of a banyan tree, floating on the devastating water. Therefore, Devahuti suggests your lying down within the abdomen of a common woman like me is not so astonishing. You can lie down on the leaf of a banyan tree and float on the water of devastation as a small baby. It is not very wonderful. Therefore, that you can lie down in the abdomen of my body. You teach us that those who are very fond of children within this material world and who therefore enter into marriage to enjoy family life with children can also have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their child. And the most wonderful thing is that the Lord Himself licks His toe. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Since all the great sages and devotees apply all energy and all activities in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, there must be some transcendental pleasure in the toes of his lotus feet. The Lord licks his toe to taste the nectar for which the devotees always aspire. Sometimes the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself wonders how much transcendental pleasure is within himself, and in order to taste his own potency, he sometimes takes the position of tasting himself. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but he appears as a devotee to taste the sweetness of the transcendental mellow in himself, which is tasted by Srimati Radharani, the greatest of all devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So, Mother Devahuti is saying that though you have taken birth from my abdomen, how is it possible that for the Supreme One who has in his belly all the cosmic manifestation, and how is it possible at the end of the millennium he is lying on a banyan tree leaf, just like a small baby, licking his own lotus toe as such. So I remember specifically there is a very nice pastime about Rishi Markandeya, that he performed very great tapasya. When Rishi Markandeya he was performing tapasya, he was completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, and he had controlled his senses to such an extreme level that he was completely fixed in samadhi. And when he was completely fixed in samadhi, all these demigods and they were so much afraid of this power that he would attain. So, they send this Kamdev Kamdev is actually the power of Maya only, and he actually intoxicates the living beings, to become mad after their own senses. But uh, yeah, in spite of all these, the best of, Kamdev means what? He actually throws arrows, you know. So the most powerful temptations also, or the most irresistible things also, which were offered by Kamdev to Rishi Markandeya. Rishi Markandeya did not fall prey to those allurements, and he remained sober, and he was completely fixed in the Supreme Lord. So then, being, pleased with that particular samadhi and the uh, penance of Rishi Markandeya, Naranarayan Rishi appeared over there, and they actually gave him transcendental, darshan. And of course, we know that Narayan Rishi are none other than the Supreme Lord himself. And they appeared at the place of this Badrika ashram. So, Markandeya Rishi, he offered very beautiful prayers, and the Lord offered them benediction also. And so, actually, when Markandeya Rishi was very curious, and he said to Narayan Rishi that I would like to see your illusionary energy. The illusionary energy means Maya. And I just want to see a glimpse of that. So, Narayan Rishi said that, okay, yes, let it. So, Lord has an external manifestation also. So, at that time, the Lord went back, Narayan Rishi went back to Badrika ashram, and Markandeya Rishi, he saw in the, by the time it was evening, he began his Gayatri and everything, and he saw so many clouds are coming in the sky and started raining, it started pouring very heavily, and torrents of rain were flooding. There were hurricanes and tornadoes, and the whole sky was pouring, rains. And within a few minutes, the whole planet was completely flooded with water. There was no land seen. The entire, you can say, universe, it became a vast, limitless ocean. So at that time, of course, it was very freezing cold also at that point of time. And there were so many, big fishes. And even, of course, Margan Rishi is also drowning and somehow they're trying to save himself and swimming and all. And he had no place. There was so much of pitch darkness was also there. The winds were also blowing and the waves were tossing him from here and there, sometimes smashing him to the north and sometimes smashing him to the south. And it was completely unimaginable that years went by. There was no food to drink. He was starving. Utterly, he was starving of even thirst. Though he was in water, but he was thirsty. He's completely exhausted. He did not even know whether he's going to live, he's going to die, what he's going to do. So many millions of years passed by. And then he saw a small island, and he was thinking of a place to rest. Of course, because he had not eaten from so many millions of years, and he did not even drink anything or eat anything or even sleep. So, see, sometimes even when we have a lot of service and when we are very busy, so we sometimes, don't sleep or we lose our sleep and we become so much, frustrated or annoyed that, hey, I have not slept, from 2-3 days, I didn't sleep. But here, Markandeya Rishi did not sleep from, millions of years. So, he but still, if you see in that adversity also, like he did not have food or thirst, he was not complaining. He was simply struggling for, that survival. And then he saw this island and said, okay, I have some place to rest over here. And then when he came close to that island, he saw very beautiful, greenery. And that greenery is said that uh, it was a huge, wonderful banyan tree, and with fresh banyan leaves, and on those banyan leaves, one of the leaf that Markandeya Rishi saw was a very small, tiny baby. And this little tiny baby, just upon seeing all of his desires, was, all his desires were fulfilled when Markandeya Rishi saw this little small baby. And Markandeya Rishi was just drinking the beauty of this little baby through his eyes. He was quenching his thirst and hunger just by seeing this small little baby. And uh, just by focusing his eyes on this little baby, he found that supreme resting place. He had not rested. So this little baby had a bluish complexion, and his he had curly locks of hair. He had wonderful lotus eyes. His lips were as red as the bimba fruit. So in Damodara Ashtakam also we see. And he had, all the beautiful jewels, on his body. And then when Markandeya Rishi, he came little closer to this little child, because he didn't know no, who this little child was. But then all at once, this little baby, he was inhaling. He was breathing in, and when he was breathing out. All of a sudden, Markandeya Rishi felt himself that he was sucked into the mouth, right?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, you're on mute. Mataji, you're on mute.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, you are on mute. Mataji is talking to someone, I think.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So this little baby.
Mataji, you're on mute. Hare Krishna, Mataji, you're on mute.
Hare Krishna. So this little baby, he was inhaling and he was breathing in, and when he was breathing, so Markandeya Rishi, he saw this little baby, little sweet little baby he was seeing, and when he was looking around, he saw within this little baby's body the whole entire universe. And all that creation, he saw all the planets, he saw all the rivers and mountains and all the demigods and all the living entities he's seeing. And he's thinking that, oh, what a wonderful thing this is. And then he was struck with wonder when the baby is, exhaling, he's breathing out, he's seeing all these things also. So all of a sudden, Markandeya Rishi found himself, at a very distance away, and he was bashing him and bashing out. And it was a very stormy weather. And he looked at this little beautiful child and he began to offer his praise. Because what happened? He was coming towards the island and he's seeing the baby, but all of a sudden he started, he got tossed as such. And when he got tossed as such, so then he's now offering prayers and he was looking at this so this little child is called Gopala and is offering, prayers to this little Gopala. This Gopal had a charming face and a smiling face. And when he was glancing, at this particular child, so Markandeya Rishi was, all of a sudden this child also disappeared. And he's saying, where is this little child? Where is this child? And in an instant, this whole illusion of Maya that was there, it disappeared. There was no more ocean. There was no more, rains. There was, no more water. Everything became very cool, calm as it was. So, and Markandeya Rishi came back to his ashram, and that same evening he's offering prayer. So then he understood when he came back to his, ashram, he understood that this is one little drop of the illusionary energy of Krishna. And if you see,
Good boy.
Please on. Mataji, kindly mute yourself, Mataji.
iPhone XR, please mute yourself.
iPhone XR, please mute yourself. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. So when Krishna, when he's seeing this, this whole illusionary, that drop of little illusionary energy, he's saying that, because see, we also know that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya. My Maya is Duratya. Mam eva ye prapadyante Maya evam tarantite. So that divine energy of Krishna is so difficult to overcome. But those devotees who have completely surrendered to Krishna, they can easily cross over that particular, ocean as such, and they can easily cross over. So if you see that in the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that this material energy is very difficult to overcome. And Bhagavatam also says that, how difficult it is to cross over this ocean of birth and death. And the Markandeya pastime is just one little fraction of that power of the illusionary energy. And imagine a great soul like Markandeya Rishi, he was, so much in a hopeless condition, and there was no hope. But because he took the shelter of the lotus feet of that little child, Gopal, then he was released of that greatest challenge of this birth and death. And as soon as he surrendered to this little Gopal, he again, was liberated, and he was brought back to his natural position. So even we as living entities, when we actually completely surrender to the Supreme Lord, we also will be brought back to our original natural constitutional position of being the servant of the servant of Krishna. And we will understand that yes, I am meant to be a servant of Krishna. Currently, the situation with us that we are not completely surrendered to Krishna, and we don't even know that how we have to surrender to that particular Supreme Lord. So there is a process of surrendering, of course. And if you see that Markandeya Rishi, when he's, of course, the Bhagavatam, when we see the Bhagavatam, where the Bhagavad Gita, when the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam mostly parallelly say that he's explaining about his abode. In the Bhagavad Gita, he says that na tad bhasate surya na shashanko na pavako yad gata evatande tad dhama parama mama. So beyond this material creation also, there is another eternal spiritual world where there is no moon, there is no sun. That is Krishna's, eternal dham that is there. And again, in the 10th canto also of the Shrimad Bhagavatam, we see that there is a great, glorious, intricate detail of the spiritual also, and Golok Vrindavan also, that where the Brajavasis are interacting with Krishna, and Krishna is giving them that reciprocation. So the whole encyclopedia, the Bhagavatam is a whole encyclopedia of these transcendental realizations. And if you see, even Prabhupada, when he went to America, because he was living in Vrindavan, in Radha Damodar, and such a holy place, Vrindavan is. But Srila Prabhupada also went beyond this holy place to give, the Bhagavatam to the whole world. And if you see, because see, in Radha Damodar, the place was that where Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Gopal Bhatt Goswami, Jeev Goswami, they would meet, they would actually come and discuss the pastimes of Krishna, the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how to spread these glories throughout the world. They used to discuss. And then they were writing their teachings, they were writing what they were experiencing, they were putting it down. So Srila Prabhupada also found, very great inspirations from these great acharyas, and he prepared his life for this great mission. And he spread the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He began to translate all these 12 cantos, and through these 12 cantos, we're able to understand what what is the Shrimad Bhagavatam. Now, today is Bhadra Purnima, of course. I should not miss this opportunity of glorifying the Shrimad Bhagavatam, because the Shrimad Bhagavatam in itself is a Grantha avatar of Krishna. So, Bhagavatam is like a way of life to be lived. That is, we can practice it today also. The great souls like Prabhupada and the Acharyas, they have also, practiced it. They've put their whole faith in the lotus feet of Krishna. And the Bhagavatam is explaining to us the chanting of the holy names, how the chanting of the holy name is the greatest. So if you see, Bhagavatam plays a very crucial role in our lives. The Bhagavatam is the teacher, it's a treasurer, it's the liberator, it's the fortuner, it's the source of happiness, and it is giving us spiritually, it is giving us wisdom, it is giving us joy, it is giving us so many other things, the Bhagavatam. So today is Bhadra Purnima. We should at least distribute one Bhagavatam set to, at least one person, one Bhagavatam. You can either sponsor it, you can either, give it as a gift to somebody, or maybe you can just invite people, and you can read the Bhagavatam at your own place as such. So this Bhagavatam is just like a shining lamp, and it has come to dissipate the darkness that is there in our hearts. This Bhagavatam is like you can say it is like a shining lamp which is showing us the way, that where we are stuck and where we need to go. We have lost the way. We've lost our ultimate goal of life, that is to serve Krishna. And that's how this Bhagavatam will help us to completely immerse ourselves in the consciousness of Krishna. And Prabhupada also translated the Bhagavatam. In fact, he took three Bhagavatam, he took three books with him. And he translated the first canto because he began his journey when he was 70 years old. And at that moment, at any moment, he could, leave this world. So he wanted to make it sure that at least in English language, which is the, most current language that is there, every living entity should get a chance to read the Bhagavatam and perfect their lives, and they can go back home, back to Godhead, and serve Krishna the same way that they were serving before. So in the Bhagavatam itself only, if you see, in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, it says, Nashta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. So, anybody can understand the Bhagavatam by hearing from that person who is completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Krishna. And he can understand also what is the Bhagavatam when he is rendering service to such a soul. So you have the Granth Bhagavatam, the Granth, the book Bhagavatam, and the person Bhagavatam. So when you're serving both, right? The book Bhagavatam, how do you serve the book Bhagavatam? Like how we are doing daily. We're reading it, we're explaining it, we're hearing from others, we're trying to understand it. So you're serving the book Bhagavatam. But the person Bhagavatam, how do you serve the person Bhagavatam? By doing some physical seva for him and even by hearing from him. When you hear from him or her and you're applying into your lives, then that is how you're serving the person Bhagavatam also. So when we are reading this Bhagavatam or we are hearing directly the purports of Bhagavatam, we are serving Srila Prabhupada directly. We are serving our previous acharyas directly by hearing it. And then by spreading this message, also we are serving the book Bhagavatam and the personal Bhagavatam. So now if you see, you know, it's a lesson for us that how you know Lord, you know, if the Lord wants to teach somebody a lesson, he is using his devotees to teach that lesson. Like for when the Lord wanted to give us Bhagavad Gita, he used Arjuna, right? When the Lord wanted to give us, you know, Bhagavatam, he used his pure devotee Parikshit Maharaj. He put him into. And in this particular pastime, this shloka of Markandeya Rishi was put into a very, you know, impossibly illusion situation for millions and millions of years. Why? Because he asked to see that illusionary energy. So, such a great soul, and they are not simply curious because they want to enjoy this material energy. Markandeya Rishi did not want to enjoy this particular money, but by resisting that temptation of that Kamdev, he already proved that he is beyond that desire of sense enjoyment. And it is the will of the Supreme Lord that he used his devotee to show the glory of that particular devotee, to show the power of material energy, to show that how Krishna is only the refuge or the shelter of all the living entities. Therefore, uh, in the loving service of Lord, for the benefit of the Lord, showing a very great message, he asked his illusionary energy. So sometimes, you know, devotees ask, you know, if I, you know, become a devotee of the Lord means, you know, I no longer have to struggle. No, Markandeya Rishi was a devotee and he also struggled for millions of years. Here we have just one lifetime. So, why are you not struggling so much? Because I am not so much qualified and I am not so dear and advanced so that the Lord can put me into such, you know, incredibly, you can say, wonderful predicament to show the whole world the glories of the Supreme Lord. So, Markandeya Rishi became an instrument in the hands of the Supreme Lord to show the whole world. And we are struggling over here when we are little sick or something happens to us. Sometimes we have a toothache and sometimes we have a bodily pain. And when somebody is not true about us, or when it's too hot, or when the electricity goes off, and then somebody think, oh Krishna, how am I to live over here? It's impossible. You know, what's happening over here? So many you know yeah, many problems we have, and we become disturbed by those problems. Sometimes we get disturbed that, okay, what if my child will get a bad grade, and how will I live, and what will I tell people, and you know what is happening. I'm a devotee, this shouldn't happen to me, you know. So how easily we are tormented by the most ridiculously, you know, little things, all these, considering all these miseries taking place in our lives, and even a slightest disturbance, you know, in our plan, you know, it creates a very havoc in our mind. So that is what Krishna is saying, that people do not understand me as I am, you know. So people don't understand Krishna and they think that, yes, this is the end of the world. Now I'm lonely. I don't have anybody as such. No. So Markandeya Rishi, he's struggling for material existence. He, for millions and millions of years, he was lonely. And he was a devotee. So the Lord wanted to show that the material existence is a struggle. Whether I am a devotee or I am not a devotee, everybody has to struggle. And the difference is that for a devotee, Krishna attracts us by his beautiful form and, his name, pastimes, qualities, and there is so much of bliss and there's so much of ecstasy, and you have a higher taste. So even in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that these miseries of material existence, they become very insignificant. These challenges become very insignificant, and we should not think that, okay, this Markandeya Rishi example is only for Satyuga, it's not for Kali Yuga. No, but this is a universal principle. Anybody who surrenders, anybody who's fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord, he's going to live a great life post that also. So this should not be misunderstood, and we should understand that uh, even the great souls of this in the Bhagavatam also, they are also teaching some principles, and they have lived by these principles. Whether in the first canto you see either Narada Muni, either you see Queen Kunti, you see Bhishma Dev, you see Parikshit Maharaj, you see Vidur, you see Maitre Muni over here. So all these great souls have lived by that way. And we should always understand that Krishna's plans are uniquely perfect for us. Whatever is happening in my life, right? See, Prabhupada was a devotee right from his birth, right? And of course, Srila Prabhupada is a Nitya Siddha, and he was very honest, sincere, a devotee of the Lord. So, um, uh, so Prabhupada began his movement at the age of 70. So some people think, oh, Prabhupada, began his movement at the age of 70, so even I will start preaching at the age of 70. No, but it was a lifetime of preparation for Srila Prabhupada. And we cannot compare ourselves with Prabhupada, of course. Prabhupada was, so much dedicated to, the words of his guru. See, when his guru gave him the advice, or he gave him the instruction that you preach in the West and print some books. Printing books means you have to write those books and you have to print them, right? So he never neglected those instructions. Of course, those instructions were postponed, but he never neglected those instructions of his spiritual master. And that's how Prabhupada became an instrument in the hands of the Supreme Lord to propagate Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So if you see Markandeya Rishi and you make a comparison of both, Markandeya Rishi also is suffering so much, but he was completely fixed. He was completely fixed in Krishna consciousness. He was completely not allured with the allurements, but uh, he was there. That that's what Bhagavatam is explaining. That he fixed his mind on the goal. Despite so many difficulties, he survived because of his Krishna consciousness. So the Lord takes his most qualified devotees and puts them in that extreme situations, just to show that Bhagavatam is not a scripture written 500 years ago or 5,000 years ago, but Bhagavatam is a way of life that we can practice it even today also, right? And when we just have to put our faith in this whole Bhagavatam, and in all circumstances, in all situations, we have to take the shelter of the holy names of the Supreme Lord. So that's this particular shloka. Let's go to the next shloka. Tvam deha anantaram prashamaya papanma nidesh bhajam cha vibho vibhutaye yathavatarastav shukaradasya tathayamapi atma labhyate.
Hare Krishna Mataji, we have little less time, so should we only read translation or you want us to read both?
Just read the translation.
Yeah, Divya Mataji, you can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. My dear Lord, you have assumed this body in order to diminish the sinful activity of the fallen and to enrich their knowledge in devotion and liberation. Since these sinful people are dependent on your direction by your own will, you assume incarnation as a boar and as other forms. Similarly, you have appeared in order to distribute transcendental knowledge to your dependents. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So, the Supreme Lord, he appears in different millenniums just to show us, that how he has compassion on his devotees. And here, Kapil Dev is also one of the incarnations, and he has come to give us this transcendental knowledge because the living entities are not in a proper direction. To give us direction, Kapil Dev has come over here and he has dissipated that ignorance from our hearts, and he has given us the Sankhya philosophy so that we can surrender to the Supreme Lord in all circumstances. So Mother Devahuti over here is actually mentioning all the different incarnations of the Supreme Lord, and she's saying that he has come, the Supreme Lord has come to give us knowledge of devotion and how we can liberate ourselves from the cycle of birth and death. When sometimes some people say liberation yani mukti. Mukti means, to get rid of, all the miseries. No. Liberation means liberation from the cycle of birth and death. You liberate yourself. No more birth and no more death. You just straight go to the supreme abode of the Lord and you serve over there. Because whether you are on earth or whether you are in the supreme abode in Golok, the sadhan and the sadhya both are the same. Sadhana and the means and the goal are the same. The means are, hearing, chanting, glorifying Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And the goal over there also is the same. Over there also we have to do same. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Same processes over here also and same process over there. But here for us is a practice ground. You practice over here sufficient enough so that you don't envy the Lord over there. And you know that my original constitutional position is that I am not the master. I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. And I remain to be ever the servant of the Supreme Lord. So this is what the Bhagavatam actually explains, and that is why we are studying the Bhagavatam, to again and again train ourselves that yes, I want to chant the holy names of the Lord. I want to please the Lord. I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. I'm meant for Krishna's enjoyment only. And how can I give enjoyment to the senses of Krishna? That's the whole goal of my life. How will I please? How will I spread this compassionate movement? Because Prabhupada is the most compassionate person. And how will I assist the most compassionate person or the most compassionate movement of all times in the history of this world? And that's how I will perfect my lives and help others also to perfect their lives. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. So anybody has any queries, questions, doubts, you all can just ask me.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. We do not have much time, but yes, maybe Mataji can take one question.
Divya Mataji?
I think she has raised hand for reading, Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's no question, then we'll end the session here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you,
Have you said
Mataji.
anything?
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Pranam.
Mataji.
Hare
Wonderful
Krishna
class,
Mataji,
Mataji.
Pranam Mataji.
Kalpatarubyascha
Kalpatarubyascha
kripa sindhu
Yo
vaishnavyo
Namo
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 Namaha.
Devotee
pavadebhyo
Vaishnava
Vrinda
vaishnavebhyo
ki jai, Srila
Srila
Prabhupada ki jai,
Devotee Vaishnav
Grantaran
Vrinda ki jai,
Bhagavatam ki
Srila
jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji.
Haribol, thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Shall I end the session, Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to
Hare
everyone.
Krishna.
Haribol.